everybody? Keith, aka Gear Guy 231. It is Wednesday, August 19th, and we have the other Champions League semifinal today between Bayern Munich and Lyon. Should be a fun day of DFS. Not sure how fun of an experience it will be for Lyon. Truly do think that Bayern right now are the best team in the world. Sad for a Liverpool fan to say, but you watch Bayern right now just kind of mowing down teams, and the performances are truly impressive. I do think, and I'll go into it more, I do think Lyon, while they're not as good as Barcelona, they are going to put up a better game than Barcelona, just because what Barcelona did last week versus Bayern was just terrible tactics, was stubbornness, like playing out from the back when you're a slow team and you have a team that's pressing the hell out of you, yet you don't want to change tactics. You don't want to try a ball over the top versus a team playing a high line. Like all these different things that Setien and the players could have adjusted. They made no adjustments. The one thing I kind of respect about Lyon and how they got here is versus Juve and Man City, they understood that they did not have the talent, and they did not have the ability to possess and do all those things versus those teams, but they were willing to play on the counter, stay drilled, stay in their shape, and they won both games. And I think that's what they're going to have to do here is, their goals are going to come on the counterattack. They're not, I don't see any way that they're coming through a buildup. It's just kind of have to be smash and grab where, Bayern overcommits and, they can either get a ball over the top or, someone on the wings were like the likes of Cornet or Depay or Dembele, Toko and Bobby, all these guys that actually aren't slow, right? That was one of the biggest things for Barcelona is Suarez and Messi up top were both very slow, couldn't get behind the defenders. If you saw, both of those goals were actually led by Alba making runs down the left and setting them up, one with the own goal and the other one to Suarez. So should be a fun game. Sorry for going into tactics already, but that's really going to be what this game is about. So now let's jump over to the DFS side. If you guys are enjoying these previews, you enjoy the content, this is helping, please, best thing you can do to us, give us a like and hit the subscribe button at the right. We really do appreciate it. Let's go into the DFS plays. This shouldn't be a terribly long one. I think that, honestly, I don't know if the slate will be super chalk, but I think the routes that everybody's going to want to go are going to be very similar in optimal builds. We'll kind of go over GPP at the end and just how, if you do want to take it down, you just have to be a little different. So Bayern is the overwhelming favorite, minus 466. Again, this is neutral site, 3.5 total. One good thing on both these sides is the set situation is very, very clear. Kimmich takes everything for Bayern, and Depay takes everything for Lyon. Should just know, I get a lot of PK questions. Depay is the penalty kick taker for Lyon, Lewandowski for Bayern. All right, let's talk about Bayern because, as a huge favorite, this is going to be where all of your exposure you want to come to. Now, the two guys that everybody's going to lock in their lineup to start out is Joshua Kimmich and Lewandowski. Let's first start with Kimmich. I actually just love – okay, I'm going to actually say this again. I don't love that DraftKings didn't adjust the pricing, but just because I think that there's still going to be some people that see a defender and just go, oh, I'm not going to pay up for a defender, or I'm not going to captain a defender, I'm not going to do all these things. I do like that DraftKings kept the price lowish because you can make some pretty sick builds. So Joshua Kimmich, over all the sets for Bayern, a lot of the season was playing in this defensive midfield role when Pavard was healthy. Pavard's still not that healthy, and honestly, I personally feel that Kimmich at right back allows Bayern to get their true best 11 on the pitch, because I think both Thiago and Goretzka are elite players. So being able to find a way to get them on, I just think is almost unfair. Kimmich is a hell of a right back, plays it for Germany, has played it for Bayern for years, has a great defensive midfielder too. He's just a great player. But again, right back, so I have some open play value, getting wide, sending crosses. I have all the set pieces. There's just nothing not to like about Kimmich at right back. So, he'll be in pretty much every single build that I have. And then Lewandowski, obviously, probably should have won the Ballon d'Or if they would have held it. Top scorer, I want to say, in all of Europe. Top goal scoring odds on the slate, on PKs. We actually saw him. I don't know if you watched the game. He really drifts a lot. Last game, he actually played a lot out here, kind of on the left too, with Miller filling space in the middle. He just goes anywhere he wants. Like, he's going to make whatever runs he wants. When you hear a goal notification, you're expecting to be Lewandowski. So I think those are the first two in. Now I think from there, and most of your builds are going to be choosing between Serge Gnabry and Thomas Müller. Never expected a 2-goal game out of Muller. He's not been the goal scorer of late, but he's one of the top assist men in all of Europe. All of his movements, like now versus Barcelona, the movements were just all over the place, and they were making all the runs that they wanted, and it was just picking passes out. But typically, Muller is making a lot of runs off and runs with Lewandowski. So it's a really, really good correlative play if you think Lewandowski is going to score, that Thomas Müller might be the key pass to get to him. So I love Lewandowski and Müller. I personally prefer Müller to Serge Gnabry, but Serge Gnabry is actually the higher goal scoring odd and the one more likely to get you a goal. So I can't blame you for playing either. He'll also get you a little more crosses and a more active shooter. I put Perisic on a level significantly below both of them. He is the one most likely to sub early for the likes of Philippe Coutinho. Trying to think of anybody else on the wing. Not Sane yet. Hofbräu, not yet. But next year, that would just be disgusting to bring Leroy Sané into the mix. But still is a willing shooter. We saw him score versus Barcelona. At that point, who couldn't have scored versus Barcelona? But, it's still not Inter's Ivan Perisic, where we're getting like 9-10 crosses, but still active player. He's out wide. If he fits your build and you just can't get up to Serge Gnabry, you're just fine. From there, I think the next best cash play is Alfonso Davies. I still do not want to crown him the best left back in the world because I still like my boy Andy Robertson, but he's absolutely one of the best left backs in the world. He's 7,100 on the slate, which is fine for cash. I do think, I was kind of cursing myself last week for playing him. Then we got lucky with that assist that, he created that whole entire goal. But you don't get a ton of crossing out of him. He's not going to pump in 9-10 crosses. As I say, he probably will tonight. But especially with Lyon probably just packing the box. But again, really, really solid player. I think he works really well for cash. I think there's going to be like two routes. Like, he might be one of the cash pivot points if you try to stack the Bayern attackers, or if you're willing to go a little bit more balanced with like a Davies and Goretzka. I think that might decide a lot of cash today. Goretzka is the next best cash play or optimal play. The dude looks like an absolute tank. It's insane whatever he did during COVID and in terms of his workout regimen, but just he's looked incredible since he's come back. He, even though he shows back here as like in the back two of a 4-2-3-1, he very much is attacking forward and the one making runs. Thiago is one sitting much deeper. So if you want, some upside from the midfield play, Goretzka's your play. Then from there, I think the rest of the guys aren't necessarily like must targets. Thiago is a world-class midfielder, but not as great for DFS. Manuel Neuer, I do think is in play, but my biggest concern would be how many shots does he see, and the shots he may see maybe on a counter, so like on 2-1, 2-2 situation. So that's it's like one of these activity things. If you think that Lyon's going to get 4 or 5 shots on goal but not score, then you want Neuer. I mean, that's 18 to 20 DK. But if you do think that it's just going to be a domination type of thing and that, Lyon's going to win the game by like a war of attrition, then, Neuer might not have enough upside for you. Let's go to the Lyon side. I really do think there's only like a couple routes you're going to go. One, if you do think that Lyon wins, I'll just say this. I said this last match. It proved to be true. And I'd say this again. This is not the type of game that you want to play Memphis Depay in for his corners. You're not playing it for the set pieces. You're playing it because you think that he would score a goal. You don't think he would score. Or I would just again make this argument. I would not pay the premium from Depay to try to get the goal. I would just take like Toko and Bobby or Moussa Dembele. That was what I mentioned last slate versus City. And this stays true here. I just don't think there's not going to be enough possession. There's going to be enough corners generated from Lyon for Memphis to pay his price. I'd much rather just drop down, get the savings from the other striker, and just understand like a goal is kind of a random event anyways for Lyon. So let me just get the cheaper route to it. So that's kind of my view on the strikers. Leo Dubois, Cornet, they're both fine. Just I'm not even gonna spend any more time on Lyon. Like it's whatever fits. I would get all my Bayern exposure figured out. They're minus, 466 favorite. Like we've done these slates over and over again, especially like City and EPL. We're going to be worried about Lyon side of things for optimal or cash buildings. Whoever fits, play after you figure out your Bayern pieces. Let's talk about Gpp strategy. We'll get out of here. If you know that everybody's playing Kimmich, Lewandowski, and one of Miller and Gnabry, immediately you go, okay, well, if I need these two, you go, I want these two. Well, then you go to Perisic, and then you go to Davies, you go to Goretzka. That would be, I think, right away, the first GPP type of build is going, all right, well, I'll just fade two of the higher end attackers. Another route, fade Lewandowski, scary as hell. But, if you know that a striker is going to be 80% owned, get some leverage off of him, cross your fingers, pray that they score 4 goals and none of them for Lewandowski, and then you lap the field that happened. Other route, I'll just mention is something that I think consistently works in these type of matches, which is Bayern onslaught, run back with your only exposure being the Lyon keeper. So that's 5 Bayern guys. A lot of times you want the wider guys more so than having to score. Running back with Lopes. So, Kimmich, Davies, Gnabry, Muller. You probably could make Lewandowski actually work there, but maybe even like Perisic, and play Lopes and just hope that he stands on his head, gets 7-8 saves, concedes 3. That's still, 7 saves, 3. That's still 8 DK. Very good chance if the game is 4-0, he could still be Lyon's top scorer. So I always think that that's a really, really viable GPP route to go. All right, guys, that'll do it. Really, really appreciate the support and you guys watching. Hope you have a good day. Good luck. See you later.